So when it comes to your mental health, it's important to think about how your environment affects your mental health. A lot of people don't think about this, but part of what makes up your environment is the people that are in it. Take an inventory, look at who the people are in your life, and think about whether or not they are adding negativity or positivity into your life and how that affects your mental health. Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Melissa and I help people navigate through their mental health journey. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys 5 warning signs of a toxic friendship and what it has taught me. So without further ado, let's get started. The people you hang out with, they all have an influence on how you feel, how you think about yourself, how you view yourself. So if you are hanging out with someone and you notice these 5 signs, then it might be an indicator for you to cut them out. Jumping into the first warning sign is they are judgmental and self-righteous. So this one is a quality that I tend to overlook within certain people because, everyone to a certain degree is judgmental. It's one thing to judge someone every now and then. It's another thing to judge all the time. And if you notice that your friend is constantly talking down about others and is self-righteous, either you agree with them or you're wrong, that's a huge indicator that they're very toxic, because it just means that the judgments that they're projecting onto others is a way for them to feel better about themselves. If they are judging others in your company, then that could potentially mean that they are silently judging you or judging you behind your back. And for me, I'm the type of person where if I hang out with someone long enough, I eventually become them. And so I started judging people myself, and I was taking on a lot of their toxic traits. We all judge people every now and then, but if you judge someone and you're self-righteous and you put your opinions above all else, it just means that they are very close-minded. It just means that they aren't open-minded enough to, understand that they might not just be right all the time. The second warning sign that you are in a toxic friendship is they don't support your dreams. And this was something that came up a lot when I had a certain friendship. There were a lot of times where I would share my dreams and ambitions, and they were very quick to shut down everything I would share, whether it not be something small or something big, and make me feel shameful for wanting to achieve or have such high ambitions. Every time I shared something about a success or accomplishment that I had, I noticed now that they were never really there to celebrate that with me. When it comes to friendships, what I value is being happy for each other's successes and understanding that we all have our own timelines. That was something that I realized, that they were never really happy for anything that I accomplished. That was when I realized, okay, these are all small signs that I'm starting to pick up. And then moving on to the third warning sign is they don't respect your boundaries. This one is a huge one for me, because when it comes to having healthy relationships, it's all about boundaries, right? We all have certain triggers within us that makes us feel a certain way. If someone doesn't respect your boundaries, then they don't respect you, and it just goes to prove that they only care about themselves. I had this one friend where there were a lot of times where they would encourage me to speak up if they did something that I didn't like, and then when I did, they would turn it against me and made me feel like I was in the wrong for speaking up when they were the ones in the first place that told me to speak up. It didn't make any sense, because we talked about boundaries. It means that they are intentionally aware that they are hurting you. That kind of really messed me up mentally. This kind of leads me to the next warning sign is they lack empathy. If they don't have empathy for how you feel, they are emotionally unavailable, and it's not good for your mental health, man. A huge memory that comes up with this when I'm talking about it now is at the time I was experiencing extreme bouts of anxiety, and it was the first time in my life where I was experiencing it and learning to navigate through it and cope with it. And I didn't know how to describe it. I didn't know how to understand it. And so there were a lot of triggers that I wasn't aware of. When it comes to mental health, it's so important to have a positive support group. It's so important to have someone there to help you sit with it and work through it. But this one friend, every time I felt anxious, every time I felt like I needed someone to be there for me, they would always make me feel like shit for feeling anxious, almost as if I didn't deserve to feel anxious. They would always invalidate my feelings by making me feel worse, by constantly reminding that there are other people out there who have it worse. And even though that may be the case, it made me feel like I couldn't express how I felt and I had to suppress what I was feeling. If your friend is not able to empathize with you, is not able to understand and respect your feelings and be there for you through tough times emotionally, it just means that they don't really care about you. They just only care about themselves. Every time I felt anxious around them, I had to keep it to myself, and my anxiety got worse and worse every time we were together. This kind of leads me to the last sign. They gaslight you, and if you don't know what it means to be gaslighted, pretty much gaslighting it's a form of emotional abuse where someone is manipulating you into questioning your sanity and your memory. And that is the biggest sign actually for someone who is toxic in your life, because if someone is manipulating you emotionally, it's all mind games and it can fuck up your mental health. There were a lot of times where I was with this one friend and I would bring up something that they said, and I would remember it specifically and vividly in my mind and where this memory took place. Every time I would bring something up that they said something or they did something, they would immediately make me question my memory by saying, oh, I didn't say that, I didn't do that, you're just sensitive, I was joking, I didn't mean it that way, I meant it like this, you don't know what you're talking about. It put me in a mental state of mind where I was constantly questioning my sanity, like, am I really thinking about all this wrong, or did I really remember this? Like, I don't know how I feel, because it's just mind games and manipulation. And if this is something that happens over and over and over again, it can really chip away and kill your sense of self-worth and self-esteem, because that's just not a way to be around someone. It's just not healthy at all. And I guess this just leads me to sharing what this friendship has taught me, is that when it comes to your mental health and your own well-being, you come first. And if someone is disrespecting you, if someone isn't emotionally available and doesn't have the ability to empathize with you and be there for you, especially with your emotions, and they're constantly trying to kill and chip away at your own self-worth and self-esteem, then it just means that it's time to let them go. Honestly, when I look back at it, I can't say that I hate them, because at the end of the day, when it comes to people like that, people who exhibit toxic personality traits are actually people who are hurting inside. What they're projecting out into the world, it's just a reflection of their inner world. And when I'm looking back at all these moments that I had with this one person in my life, they weren't aware, and it was very hard for me to learn to let them go, because I'm a very forgiving person, I'm a very empathetic person, and there was a lot of times where these signs would show up in my face and it was so obvious, but I kept letting it slide because I kept wanting to see the good in them. There was a part of me that hoped that they would change, and there was a lot of times where we would sit down and I would communicate with them and they'd say that they'd work on it but then revert back to their old ways. Yeah, that's when I realized that it was time for me to let them go. And if there's anything that this friendship has taught me, it is that me taking the initiative and taking the action to remove them from my life was an act of self-love, because what you're willing to put up with in your life and how you're treated or being treated with the people in it will give you an indicator of how much love and respect that you have for yourself. I'm not here to hate. I don't hate this person at all. I actually still hold space and love for them, but I can't have them in my life if I want to grow. And so there are a lot of times now where I still think about this person and I think about the relationship that I had with them. I only wish them a sense of healing within themselves, because this friendship that I had with this person kind of felt very karmic, because there were a lot of times where what was happening to me and how I was being treated was exactly how I was treating others in my past. As this was happening, I was going through a spiritual awakening, and what was happening to me, I kept getting a lot of memories of me doing the exact same thing, except being on the other end. And so this relationship and this friendship has taught me many things, and I'm very grateful for it. The only thing I can do now is move forward. So that is it. That is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace, much love, and many blessings to you.